Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. We're seeing some tepid movement in the markets. Gold glides and silver slumps. Let's find out what's going on and why. This comes through from CNBC. Is gold is set for a weekly loss as U.S. data and dollar weigh? There's other things that have happened since the publishing of this article here, but gold prices fell on Friday and was on track for its third weekly fall for the month, restrained as a slew of U.S. economic data beat expectations and the dollar held near multi-week highs against major currencies. So that's really good news. If you want the precious metal prices to fall, you want it to fall on good economic news. And it talks about how gold has fallen 0.4% to $14.99.22 per ounce, 22 cents per ounce, and declining 1% for the week after a near 2% gain last week. U.S. gold futures were down 0.6% lower at 1506.01 per ounce. A bunch of U.S. economic data came way above the forecast, like the new home sales, and that, along with the strong dollar, is weighing on gold right now, said Jigar Trivedi, a commodities analyst at Mumbai-based Anand Rathi Shares and Stockbrokers. The National Association of Realtors Pending Home Sales Index rose 1.6% to a reading of 107.3 for August, the association said on Thursday, while economists polled by Reuters had forecast an increase of 0.9%. The greenback held near multi-week highs against major currencies as heightened risk from political tensions to the Sino-U.S. trade war increased its safe haven appeal. And I will say that as of very recent news, we're finding out that China is responding now with statements about trade that in the last moments of trading on the Dow Jones Industrial Average and had a negative effect down 60 some odd points or what have you. And so increasing tensions and uncertainties around trade. Again, trade representatives are supposed to come to the United States in October to discuss, and we shall see. A lot of saber rattling now, and because China has basically said that if a deal isn't worked out, then there could be risk for a global recession. Then a whistleblower report released on Thursday that said the U.S. President Donald Trump not only abused his office in attempting to solicit Ukraine's interference in the 2020 U.S. election for his political benefit, but the White House tried to lock down evidence about that conduct. Now, this is still very early on, and, it's more politics. All of this is a political hit job, and I'm hoping most Americans don't buy this because it really is absolutely insane what they're trying to do, totally ignoring the fact that even though it was casually mentioned with regards to Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, the fact is that what Trump was asking about was about interference from Ukraine in the 2016 election in support of Hillary Clinton. But regardless, there was a treaty. Most people don't realize this, but there was an actual treaty signed by William Jefferson Clinton in 1999 that essentially calls for a mutual agreement for both countries to help with any litigation or any investigations between their two countries or within their countries. In this particular case, the media, of course, are not going to dare even question about what it was about. And this was about the real shakedown, and that was by Joe Biden to threaten to withhold millions and millions of dollars from, or $1 billion, I think, from Ukraine if they didn't fire the prosecutor who was getting a little too close at Hunter Biden there. But anyways, it's going to obviously muck up the political system. Its effect on precious metals is obviously going to be paramount. I think it's going to possibly cause the metals and uncertainty to continue to rise. Usually when there's gridlock in Washington, that's typically a good thing for the markets because they're not going to be making a whole lot of change. But there's some change that needs to be done, and that is the codification of the USMCA, the trade deal that all three North American countries have agreed to. And even if things were to just go swimmingly well with China, Congress is not going to act on it because it's not in there, especially the House, because of the control by Democrats. They're not going to do anything to give Donald Trump a win on this or anything. So we're going to be seeing gridlock for quite a while here. This added to the uncertainties around the global growth outlook amid a prolonged U.S.-China trade spat, which this was written before the latest comments from China came in today. European shares also rose on Friday, with London stocks outperforming due to a weaker pound, while hopes of a quick resolution to the U.S. trade war offset worries of slowing economic growth and rising political risk. However, investors were cautious on mixing signals from China and the United States on their tariff dispute, which has helped the bullion gain about 17% so far this year. A number of central banks across the globe, like the Fed, the European Central Bank, and the Bank of Japan, have cut interest rates to stimulate the economy amid fear of a potential recession. If the global economic situation does not improve, we may see central banks around the world cutting down interest rates, said Margaret Yang, and market analyst at CMC Markets. And by the way, obviously, it's what Trump wants us to do here too, which I think would be a big mistake, especially if he wants the rates to go to zero or lower. Bad idea, for sure. China's top diplomat said on Thursday Beijing was willing to buy more U.S. products, and that talks would yield results at both sides, take more enthusiastic measures to show goodwill, and reduce pessimistic language. Well, that all changed today. Reports saying Washington is unlikely to allow American firms to supply China's Huawei technologies undermine hopes of a complete deal between the countries. Spot gold may test the support at $14.88 per ounce and break below, which could cause a fall towards $14.46, according to Wang Tao, a Reuters market analyst for commodities and energy technicals. Silver fell 1.34% to $17.56 per ounce. It's now risen up a little bit, I think in part because of some of this latest news. Down 0.2% at $9.28, platinum was. Palladium fell 0.5%. Let's actually take a look at the metals themselves here in the markets and where they have closed off for the day, because it is interesting where things are. We see gold is just below that $1,500 level, down 0.51%, $7.70, gliding along essentially that $1,500 level. And that's it. It'll dip in or dip above, dip a little bit below. Now, by this article, it sounds like they're saying that it could potentially go down lower. And that's certainly a possibility, I think. That $1,500 floor is not very solid. However, with silver, I do believe we have a pretty solid $17 floor. We've seen it stay at least above that point. It's been above 18 and below 18. And obviously now it is well under 18, $17.58 there, a negative 1%. And again, today silver is the loser of the day. So it is slumping today. So silver is taking that slump downwards. Platinum is flat as of the recording of this video, $933. Palladium is at $1,689. Wow, up $16. It's really close to $1,700. And so yes, in fact, the Palladium Eagle now I think is over $2,000 now. The reverse proof Palladium Eagle from the United States Mint. If you want to get it, you got to spend more than $2,000 to do so. And rhodium is at $5,250 for the. These are the platinum group metals there. Very expensive, except for platinum. I think platinum is undervalued now. And it is quite the metal, I think, that could have some potential, I believe, to increase. I think it's the lowest, it's the most undervalued of the metals, in my view, right now. So there they are. Now, where does this leave us with this gold to silver ratio? The gold to silver ratio has increased. It is below that 90. which is not, 93 to 1. That hurt, for quite a while there. For a bit, we saw that ratio up. But it's now above 85.5 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold right now. And so it's still pretty high. And which means that's telling me, especially with these big sweeps with silver slumping and these wild moves back upwards, if it keeps doing this, I believe that when the prices go back up, we may not see, unless there's a wild movement upward and it stays up, we may not see silver fall back in line to any normalcy in the ratio between gold and silver. And that's kind of what I'm fearing could potentially happen here as we close out the rest of this year if we don't see much movement. Some people have been saying there's some buzz in the community about something big going to happen in October. Now, October 10th is when we're going to see the repo madness hopefully end. But even as such, they're spending millions of dollars. It's just insane how much they're spending each day lending this money between these banks. And Cleopatra sent me an email, and I haven't looked at it too much, but there is all these banks that are basically closing down, being bought out by other banks to kind of hide it. And that's these are things. The way they make the paperwork and do things. You have to be careful and pay attention to what's going on out there with some of these banks, because a lot of these banks have been bought by other banks for years, even before the economic crisis of 2007, 2008. But nonetheless, when you're seeing happen more frequently, and some of these banks are going out and going under by being bought out, is it being done to kind of hide something? I don't know, or taking deals that opportunities that may not be there, may not have been there before. Who knows? We shall see. But there you have it. There's the news. So gold is gliding, silver is slumping. Post your thoughts below. Would like to extend a multitude of gratitude, y'all, for watching, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.